Welcome, everybody. You are back to another installment of The Ant Green Show. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Mr. Greenhart, aka Rahshawn. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we got a very special guest with us. This is a longtime friend of mine. We grew up in the same neighborhood, shared a lot of good memories. Sometimes, don't get to connect as often as we do, but when we do, it's always a great time. Happy to have him back. He was also on season 2. Shout outs to that. We had a really fun time with that. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I have Sheldon Surjue with you. Sheldon, man, what's going on? How you been, brother?
I'm good, man. Nice to see you. Nice to be back again. Let's get this going.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, man, so much has been happening. And so in today's episode, I really, as much as the podcast, we like to focus on sports as a whole. We're going to be actually talking about Champs Montreal Basketball. And so I want you guys to meet Sheldon here. He has been on some of our previous episodes, but he's also involved with this great organization. So I want to dive a bit deeper into getting to know Sheldon, a look into some of his future plans, some of the present things that he's dealing with, and then really just to kind of see the overall landscape of sports, how things are going, and what to kind of foresee in the future. But without further ado, Sheldon, man, for the people that maybe don't know you already and know what you're all about, just tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're coming from and what you're involved with.
So it was rough at first, first I would say 13 years of my life, I'm getting licks if I even ask my daughter for $1, so couldn't know teams at the store,
Right.
See those things and all that kind of stuff, the reality. But at the end of the day, my parents, persevered and they got better jobs. They went back to school and we eventually moved to the West Island and bought a home. That's when where we connect, so
Nice,
it was humble beginnings, but that's what created the perseverance and drive, to achieve as Black men in this country.
100%. Yeah, and you know what? It's like everyone has different backgrounds, everyone comes from different places, and it's what you do with it. Times are hard, and like especially in today's days, like it's even harder for you to get by. And so it's like having that strong work ethic, humble beginnings, as you said, like you're not taking anything for granted and you're making the most of what you're doing right now for yourself. So talk to me a little about ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about Champs Montreal Basketball. So Sheldon, I wanted to ask, can you give us an overview of what Champs Montreal Basketball is, how long you guys been around for, and kind of some of the current things you guys are working on?
Yeah, so Champs Basketball, it started in 2014. Me and my brother, we got together. We're like, hey, let's do something basketball-wise. Let's try to, take our skills and and hone them in on some of these young guys that we see at the park. And that's
passing the torch. Yeah,
exactly, passing the torch. For those of you out there who might not know, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, which means that I can't play on Friday nights or Saturdays. So I was recruited to Vanier. I played at Brookwood because at Brookwood they had their games on Sundays. When I lived in LaSalle, I was just a street baller, so no one really knew me until we moved to the West Island and ended up on Brookwood. And then people started to say, "Yo, this guy's pretty good." I was on a very, very talented Brookwood team with we had even our bench. Our bench was a starting five for most teams.
Shout out to Brookwood, got everyone through the ranks. Everyone got some real reps in there.
A lot of guys on that team. I would say the best player on the team at that time was Greg Page, called him Biz.
Yes.
And he was like Montreal's first LeBron James. I'm telling you, man, like this guy was
doing
very
it.
Talented.
Lindsay Place alumni. He came. He won a few things. Yeah, Greg was a name, that's for sure. Brookwood had some athletes.
Yeah, Greg was the name, and I was on that team that year, and we won provincials. And I was obviously looked at by coaches, and I did very well in the playoffs. I was probably the best player on the team in the playoffs, honestly, numbers wise. And I had hit a 3-point shot in the championship game to bring the game to overtime. So I had a name after the point. Got recruited to Vanier, and I played there for a year. But as I said, Sabbath became an issue, and I stopped playing. But as I said, a few years later, or actually a couple years after that, we started Champs Basketball to inspire the next generation, because I love the game. I love basketball. It's a passion of mine that I'll always have, and I always want to see the game develop in the right way. So we started in 2014.
Yep.
with a private school called Academy Mary Claire.
Right.
And we started to do after school programs there. So we're training kids from grades 1 to 6. And we did we had a lot of fun and we saw a lot of improvement.
Right.
We actually have 2 players that are from that school, or three players from that school that ended up playing college. One of them's playing on a it's not a JUCO, it's one of those main programs in Ontario.
Right. Like prep school.
Prep school, kind of like a prep school, but it's like a higher end prep school.
Okay. Yeah.
George Lefebvre, he's at I think it's SFU or one of those schools.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we have another guy named Sajin, who's one of our coaches now. So we've had guys that are started with us 2000,
yeah,
went through the ranks from AMC, and now he's one of our coaches. He plays college basketball.
That's crazy. That's
I actually recruited him. So it's I love the fact that we're now full circle, but we have humble beginnings. As I said, one program, 2014, and then we built a reputation. We worked hard. We have a passion for the game and seeing the improvement. It's not just about working. If you work and you know what you do, you're never going to get to the level that you can get to. But if you love what you're doing, it's not even like it's working. I might be tired sometimes, but it's not work to me if I love what I'm doing. So I've been blessed to be put in this type of situation where I love what I do.
Yeah.
And we ended up growing and getting a lot more schools. So now we're about we've probably worked in about 20 schools, and we're probably currently active 15 of them. And this is from West Island, where the higher portion of our programs are, and we go as far as RDP, which is the other end of Montreal. It's that's an hour and a half away from where I live.
Yeah.
So we're full circle. We're all around Montreal, and it's been nothing but blessings, man. Obviously ups and downs, but overall we are happy where we're at for sure.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, it's such a great thing to see this and hear that people that have played basketball themselves, that have had people that have they grew up with playing, and now they want to share that knowledge with the next generation, because that's really what it's all about. Like, a lot of kids are talented, a lot of kids have those skills that you might think that you need to take it to the next level, but it's really important sometimes to work with other people who share that same passion, who have that experience, because in that way you get to not only hone your skills, but you get to network with these people. You get to see, you get to hear from them and share your stories. They get to share stories with you, and that's how the knowledge gets passed on, and then you hope to pass it forward to the next one, so that the next generations, everybody is always well equipped for things that they really feel strongly about. And when it comes to the world of sports, like, although the Ant Green Show, we cover sports this season, music and food, there's also an opportunity that I've started called Canada Sports and Fitness, and it's right in the same realm. It's making sure that kids have all the tools and resources that they need. And we're now with Champs Montreal Basketball, it's a great opportunity for us to share that conversation with these kids, to be able to connect with more parents and let them know that their child has the opportunities to be what they want to be. It's now a matter of them putting it all together. And so I really like what Champs Montreal is doing. And I wanted to ask also, like, if you could give us like a day in the life, like when you guys have, like, what during some of the busier times for you guys, or what are some of the big I guess, camps that you guys are running that really helps kids to maybe get that accelerated learning and also the hands-on skills to be able to feel like they're ready to take their game to the next level?
Right. So we do a couple of things. Obviously, we're working with, kids if we're in elementary school that are, from, kindergarten all the way to grade 6, but we also have summer camps.
Yep.
So our summer camp, I think, would be our that's where we see the most improvement over the course of the summer. We get a one-on-one chance with them all day. Whereas, our school programs, after school programs, kids who are just learning basketball, who might not even like the game or just curious, are joining our after school programs. But our summer camp, that's where we get a lot of time with guys to work on
full immersion,
to the skills, and also coaches that we have. Those are, yes, there are coaches, they're training the elementary kids, but, at the same time, they're trying to become better basketball players as well. So at our camps, during the time where, the coaches, the kids are at lunch, or, they haven't arrived yet for camp, or after camp, we have periods where we give the coaches a chance to train their skills. I will train them. And we
Nice,
did get a
nice.
shooting machine, so they were able to access the shooting machine for free and work on their game. So I would say definitely for our summer camp is where we really hone in on those skills, and provide personal trainings as well for guys to get to that next level.
That's great, man. And I'm happy to hear that, like you're telling me, even the coaches are still on their own journey and still developing themselves as a player, as an athlete, as a leader. And so it's kind of full circle that not only are these kids getting immersed in a summer camp, but they're getting coaches that are still working on themselves. So they still feel like they have something to prove. I know that we kind of chatted a bit offline about this, but can you talk to me maybe about some of the current struggles and like even just in a matter of like what you guys have had to deal with and what maybe some of the things that you guys are looking to do once these things have been settled, if you want to share a bit of share a bit of that just to let us know how that's been.
Yeah, I'm comfortable sharing that. As I said, there's a lot of ups, but there's a lot of downs at the same time, and you got to take what comes with it, right? It's business at the end of the day. So
100%.
there's a lot of things that come up. For example, one of our intentions was to start a league. We did have a team that we put into a league.
Yeah.
I won in the first year I joined that league, but we didn't go into it again after I won. But a long story short, we want to create our own. We want to create our own league now, and we went ahead and tried to do that. But
Yeah.
we have some stalls, and the reason why is because in Montreal, for some reason, now the gyms go through the city, whereas the
Right.
schools before they had control of the gyms. So we
Right.
would
Right.
reach out
Right.
to the school and can we rent your gym? And we get a response within a couple of days or a week, and yeah, you guys could rent the gym next month or a month or two from now, and that's not a problem. Now the way it works is that we have to rent the gyms through the city. So the
Right.
cities basically own the gyms now once the schools aren't open. So if the schools have their classes in session, for sure it's the school's time to use the gym. But after school hours,
Yep.
basically the cities own the gyms. So
Right.
we have to actually wait now for the cities to secure their spots of when they have the gyms before we can actually use them. So
Get that schedule. Yeah.
yeah. So the problem is, yeah, so the scheduling now, it affects us because we have to wait for them to, basically give us
Allocate the time and let you know what's there and how you work around that. Yeah.
we have to work around
Right.
instead of getting first dibs. So because of that, all that time that we would normally have to register kids, we don't
Yep.
have that time. We have to wait until, for instance, the league that we plan to start, we had asked for the gym rental in June. We
Mm-hmm.
only got approved for the gym in September, and the program is going to was supposed to start in October. So we
Yeah.
only had a few weeks to
Right.
start a higher league.
Right.
It's not
Right.
just a program where we have an evening program or training program. Those are easy. You get 15, 20 kids to register, no problem in a month. But a
Right.
league is different. It's a particular age group. It has to be
A lot of
kids with
dynamics. Yeah.
dynamics. So we didn't have a lot of time to register. And unfortunately for now, that's on hold.
Right.
It's a project that we're ambitious about. We have a ton of programs. We have about 15 programs. We have camps, summer camps, March break camps.
Yep.
I have personal training on the side just because I love to give back, and I love to see, kids take it to the next level, especially when they're talented. So we do a lot of things, and the league is one of the things that we're ambitious about. But, we have to kind of put that and try to work around the issues that we're having, as I just mentioned.
Yeah. No, I completely get that. And like when your hands are tied and like you have to wait for scheduling, you have to wait for these things to
Yes.
materialize. And depending on how long that takes, that affects what you're currently doing. It's not at all an easy thing, but I definitely love the goal of still, that's what you guys had in mind. And like you have these other options, the summer camps, you have the sessions that you're doing now. And so like it's a matter of finding ways to adapt and adjust because ladies and gentlemen, it's not always easy. Like it's great to be able to have these opportunities for kids, but there's a lot of things that go on in the background. And so it's great to see how Champs Montreal has been not, I wouldn't say easily, but definitely doing their best to make sure that they could manage what's happening, adjust to it, and then still be able to offer the same great services despite all the setbacks. So I know that's sometimes out of your hands and there's only so much that you could do, but the more that you continue to at least do something about it and not just sit back and wait, the better your chances are of at least being able to operate to your capacity, right? And so kind of to wrap things up, I wanted to kind of ask, like, in terms of Champs Montreal Basketball, what are some things that you guys foresee kind of towards the new year? Is there anything that you guys are looking towards? Is there any new programs you guys are thinking about introduce? I think the league sounds like a great idea because I myself grew up playing in many leagues, and you learn so much about yourself. You get to figure out who you are as an athlete. You get to figure out how you work well on a team. I think team play and being a team player and understanding dynamics of, leveraging other people's strengths and weaknesses, you really get to learn that. So that's a great plan to have. But aside from that, was there anything else that you guys were looking at in the new year to either introduce or just to add as an add-on to what you're currently doing?
Absolutely. So in the new year, well, this is, as of 2024, it'll be our 10th year. So because of that,
Nice. Congratulations, man. That's great.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So we're actually going to be having an event in January,
Okay.
where we're going to basically celebrate, the 10 years that we've had as an official organization.
Yeah.
So people are coming in from Toronto and stuff like that, and it's going to be good. And the thing about it is, it's a celebration for our 10th year, but at the same time, it's an inauguration of our office.
Right.
So we're planning to get an office space where we're gonna,
That's
have a
awesome.
decent sized office space where we'll have, a section for working out coaches, from a physical standpoint, having a room for training coaches, so to become better, leaders. Because one of the things that I personally, use our I would say organization for is not only to train kids, but it's actually to help them become better leaders.
Yes.
So one of the things we focus on is one of the things that I notice as a college coach. I'm also a college coach, and one of the things that I look at when recruiting guys is, especially from the guard and shooting guard position, but mainly the guard position, is the leadership qualities. And I feel that these coaches that we have that we're training to become better coaches are becoming better leaders, because if they're not comfortable, around little kids and telling them what, where to go, then how are they going to tell,
manage it at the next level that they're playing at. Yeah.
This level. So, this is something that, an office space is going to give us they have the practical, but they need the, like, let's sit down and talk about this and let's look over things type of thing that we want to give them. So we're opening up an office space. We haven't, we're narrowing down within the next, couple of weeks where we're going to situate, but set up. It's going to be official in 2014. So we have some good things.
That's exciting, man, because that's really important when it comes to, like, off the court. And not only like on the court is important, but off the court, how you carry yourself off the court is usually how you'll present yourself and how you'll play out when you're on the court. So leadership qualities, I think for anybody, when you get to different parts of your game, and then when you figure out who you are as an athlete, and then you want to start playing at a higher level, you have to have certain qualities to be able to do that. Now, you may get to your end destination. You might want to play NBA. You might want to play overseas. You may not be the same. You may not have the same role you had when you were playing in high school, when you were playing in college. Now you might need to take on a different role, but those leadership skills you have will still be needed, because when that opportunity comes, you need to be able to tell people decisively, this is what you want to do. So I think mindset training, coaching, developing is super important. So I really am excited to hear how that goes. And, for most kids, it's not that they don't have it. It's just that they really need to understand the importance of it, and then be able to practice that on a continuous basis, and have experts like yourself, qualified professionals, working with them to make sure that they are set up the right way. Really excited to see how that plays out. Last thing I want to talk to you, man, about was actually the sports world as a whole. And, I know, like, NBA, there's been a lot of things going on, and different sports leagues have different headline stories, but one thing in particular I want to touch on was in the NBA now, they have the in-season tournament. I'm not sure if most people are familiar with that, but it's something different that the league is trying to make the regular season more exciting. Certain athletes, certain fans, even people like myself, have different opinions on it. I'm sure you do. It's kind of like how the future of sports is going, that they're, trying these different things. I wanted to know overall, like, what do you think about today's game? What do you think about the direction of the NBA? Like, what are your thoughts overall on it?
I would definitely say Adam Silver has nailed it for the most part.
Okay.
Nailed it for the most part. The
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
thing that comes to mind that he changed was the 24-second shot clock after a miss goes to a
Right.
14. That sped up the game and it really helped,
Right.
instead
Right.
of
Right.
dragging out the clock again, you got to go and you got to attack right away. So
Right.
it's speed up the game. The second thing was obviously the playing,
Right.
the playing
In-season playing tournament. Yeah.
season playing tournament. No, sorry, not the in-season playing tournament. The what is it?
Take foul.
No. Not the flopping. I'm not even gonna be the flopping.
That's a whole different
That's a
episode on its own.
exactly not the flopping. Towards the end of the season, the sixth spot. No,
Oh,
sorry, the
the play-in.
playing.
Playing playoff seed, the 8th seed.
Yeah, the eighth. So the seventh, what is it? It's the eighth, seventh seed to the 10th seed now are competing to get that final 7, 8 spot. What is it called? What did they call it again? Because the in season, or is it the
it's the play-in tournament. I think it's almost close to the same wording as in season, but it's
that's
play-in, or you don't get into the playoffs. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So the play-in would be something else that was, I think, pretty good. People were skeptical at first, but it's showing that for example, Miami was in the play-in last year. I'm not
Right.
sure if the 7th or 8th spot, but they might have been in the 9th or 10th spot, and they ended up where? Conference finals.
Right.
So it worked. I think it worked. It helped to increase the competition level, and I do think that this in-season tournament now is another great addition, simply because you know, in usually during what we complain about during the first part of the season is the lack of competition.
Right.
Guys aren't motivated. I have friends tell me they don't watch basketball until Christmas.
Right.
This
I don't blame them. Yeah.
exactly. This tournament's finishing well before Christmas, so there's no disturbance. I was skeptical at first. I'm like, in-season tournament, what does that really even mean?
Right.
What does it have to do with the regular season? And then I found out, well, the games are actually going to be counting towards the regular season.
Right. They found a way to tie it both in together and still make it competitive, like you're competing for something. And the feedback has been that people want to win because there's something to win. So it's giving people motivation. Guys like LeBron, other coaches around the league have stated that they want to win this because it's the first time they're doing it. So they want to be known as the team to win. But then it also creates the competitiveness going, because then, like you said, that it doesn't cut off anything from like the marquee games in the Christmas time. It leads right into Christmas and then to All-Star break. And then now you're trying to get seeding going into March, April. So I think you're right. I think it does make it a lot more exciting, and it gives the NBA like a different approach to just a regular season, because when you're watching it, you're like going through the motions. Now, when you have an in-season tournament, it's a different, like, okay, well, let's see how these guys play under a different circumstance. Like, can they still compete the way that they want? So
no, I said it's definitely an overall win for the NBA. I was actually doing a little bit more research, and I found out that they're looking for TV deals specifically for this. So the NBA has invested. Obviously, these courts that they've all put up throughout every team has a new court now. That's a huge investment that the NBA had to make.
Right.
To make
a lot of marketing dollars. Yeah.
A lot of marketing dollars, but at the end of the day, it's going to pay off because they're going to get new TV deals. Yep. So not only only will the NBA as an organization benefit, but the players are probably going to end up getting. It's not going to start starting at 500,000. That's not where it's going to end. By a couple of years from now, guys are making
millions.
5 million. That one game.
Right.
So that's going to be, whenever that does end up happening, it's going to be epic. I was telling my friends, have you ever played money for street ball? The ones who weren't fans of this thing, I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
Like the competition, it's like, yeah, you want to win, but that money shot, when we say that's a real money.
It actually counts as money. Yeah, that shot is making you money for real. Like you're getting that bank at the end of it.
A lot of these guys are rich, right? Obviously, as NBA players, but there's a lot of guys on the roster who aren't. There's guys who are on 10 days contracts, sleeping on people's couches, teammates' couches. So this actually, means a lot to some of these guys, and
100%.
Starters and are balling like that. Are
gives them something.
Gives them something to to motivate. So it's a really good idea, I think.
Yeah,
and as well. Soccer's been doing it. I found out since like over 100 years. Over 100 years, the European leagues have been running in-season tournaments, and they're the most popular sport in the world.
NBA's taking a page out of that playbook, that's for sure.
Exactly.
And I like how they're innovating. I know it's mixed emotions for some people. Most people are saying, well, what's the point? But other people, like, how we're agreeing now, it's like it makes it more interesting. And like even the top athletes, they're still competing at their hardest. They're not sitting out. They want to win. They don't want to be looked at as the athlete that's just passing things by. Like they want to be known as the best in everything. So I think it's bringing more eyeballs to the game, and for the future generations, it's also giving them opportunities. Maybe kids that are trying to make teams and that are on 10 days or
Yeah.
1 year deals, and who knows what their career looks like, or if they get out the league. This is something else that you could also make a name for yourself during this process. It's not, the money's great, but knowing that you hit a big shot in an in-season tournament, there's eyes that are watching that, right? So you could also now create a brand and make a name for yourself. So I think with what's going on, it's only going to get better. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great episode. It's always good talking with you, Sheldon. I know that we can talk for hours, especially when it comes to current sports. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about a lot of good things. We talked about the evolution of Champs, where Sheldon came from. Now that I'm also going to be involved with Canada Sports and Fitness, helping to brand, market, promote for kids, connect them to professionals like Sheldon to make sure that they get all the tools and resources they need to play their best. I'm really excited for Canada Sports and Fitness, and I'm really excited to see what sports will continue to do for athletes that are looking to take their game there. So, we're going to be covering sports as always, but definitely really happy to have you here, Sheldon. And it was great for us to have this conversation so that people know what's going on. Before we sign off, is there any shout outs you like to have? How do people follow you? Any of your information so that people can get in touch with you if they want more info.
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is at Champs MTL.
Yep.
Facebook, same thing. Facebook.com/Champs MTL. My personal on Instagram is S_Surjue7. But yeah, you know what? The shout out that I have is overall to Canadians in the league.
Yes.
There was a big I wouldn't say article, but a big read up on it that I was reading, and I think there was 20, almost 30. It
Yeah.
was like 26 or 29 Canadians that were on rosters, and that was
Starting. Yeah.
it broke not only Canada's record but a world record in
Right.
terms of non-Americans in
Right.
the league starting lineup on lineup. So huge shout out to Canadians, representing in the league. They know now. All those players in the States know now we're not no joke.
Right. Talent is there. It's just a matter of when now, because they're coming. Pause.
We're I think a lock at silver if we perform at our best, this coming Olympics. So huge shout out to Canadians. I love the fact that we're thriving, and I that motivates me so much, as a trainer. So I just want to shout out my guys, man. Benedict Mathurin, Lugens Dort,
Yes.
Shea, Jamal Murray, Shea, the list goes on and on, man. Shaden Sharp,
The list
man.
The list goes on and on. And ladies and gentlemen, there's more to be added to it. I'm sure Canadian athletes now, they see this and they know that the belief is there because they're seeing other people that have done it from neighborhoods they grew up in. The talent is in Canada. I'm also wanting to be a part of that push to promote Canadian athletes, and definitely super happy to see where things have been, because on an Olympic stage, we could actually compete now with the best of them. And we're not just a team that just has a few good guys. Sometimes the full starting five could compete against any starting five. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm so happy that everyone was here to enjoy this with us. If you aren't doing already, make sure you follow Champs MTL. Also, make sure if you haven't already subscribed and followed the Ant Green Show, and make sure to follow and subscribe Canada SNF. That is for Canada Sports and Fitness. I'm your host, Mr. Greenhart. Thanks so much for tuning in. Till next time. Peace.
Peace out, guys.